Yes, my beautiful soul. So today we're going to focus on a one card reading, a one spirit, deity, God, Netaru, whatever you may call them, angel, my beautiful soul. So today's focus is whom we call Osiris, or his original Kemetic name, which is ancient Egyptian name, is Ausar. So that's Ausar. Ausar, Osiris, or yeah, that's the original name, my beautiful souls. So we're looking at a principle of limitation, right? With things we're trying to achieve, there could be things that you're trying to achieve and you're suffering from stagnation, or you're feeling stuck, you're feeling it's the issue is a limited mind frame. It's you identifying with a limited personality. This is what the actual essence is, which is causing the stagnation, which is causing you to see issues and problems and rifts and divides, and like the world is against you kind of thing, almost like you're just a receiver of the world and not an actual partaker, a co-creator. So Osar, right, represents number one on the tree of life. It's that eternal oneness, that one consciousness that permeates through all living things within this universe. For a human being on their ascension, this represents the highest level of your consciousness, right? When you align back to the one consciousness, the one intelligence, or what you call God, the supreme being, my beautiful souls, right? So you could say that the moment we only operate and use only, let's say, like 10% of our consciousness, this is connecting back to the true self, the consciousness that is conscious of itself being conscious, right? So we're saying to you that this whole universe is consciousness. Where there's consciousness, there's also the energy to manifest one's will and intention, right? So what we're finding is that we associate with our programming, right? Our personality is based on our programming, our nature nurture, the things we've experienced, the households we grew up, some of our genetics, blah blah blah. The pains, the traumas, the experience, all have shaped us and shaped a personality, right? Personality being per and persona, personality through sound. So we're all operating from this false individualistic uniqueness, if you want to pull it that. But this uniqueness is not uniqueness in as in the infinite possibilities of potentials manifesting in many different forms of people. This is the product of our actual programming, my beautiful soul. So there's some form of illusion here, and one of those illusions is that you are different, is that you are separate from others, you are separate from God, you are separate from the animals, separate from your environment, separate from your riches. You have to ask for riches as opposed to knowing that you are rich or you are abundant, right? It's something about releasing you from this limited condition, animalistic personality, which is causing you to kind of stagnate. Is that you're not able to tap into your intuition. If this is a oneness of consciousness that permeates through all things, this is all knowing, this is omnipresence, this is omniscience, this is omnipotency, all wrapped up into one. So the ability to be conscious, to will something, and also to bring that will into materialization or into manifestation, my beautiful souls. So the issues that you find yourself, this, one of the questions, or one of the solutions for the stuckness that you feel currently, the slowing down of your energy, the opportunity to maybe review and redirect, right, is presenting an opportunity to change your personality. What do you identify with? Because what you identify with and what you hold in your mind's eye, whom you think you are, is what you actually are. So this is what this is. This is a Asar requires a breaking, right, of the false personality, the birth of Haru, its son. Asar gave birth to a son called Haru, the falcon, the warrior, right? Your will, the human's will, and its ability to wrestle itself away from the emotionality or the emotional program, which is supposed to be energy moved by one's will and intention, but the emotions have formed a personality that we now think is who we are. So this is the healing of the inner child, going back to the point in your life when you were just growing and developing, going through life, embracing, open, fearless in one sense, and then the situations happened that's tested that, and then your ego has now formed a false version of yourself. In one sense, it's a defense mechanism, but we now, that when you're young, it's a defense mechanism. When you become an adult, you don't need to live by that defense mechanism. Why? Because you have your will and your attention, and you just need to strengthen that. And then that now is automatically biased to its father, its creator, its Ausar energy. Do you understand? Which is that oneness. Ausar, Haru was usurped off this throne by its personality, which is Seth, or the Sebek, the left side of the brain, the personality, the thinking, and the regurgitation of information, and the energies of one's childhood. So we're moving past that. So Ausar manifests in a few different ways. In the Yoruba, he might be seen as Obutala. In the Indus Kush, or the ancient Vedic belief, that's Tara. Or in the Kabbalistic, they know Ausar as Kefa, number 1 on the tree of life, who we know as Ausar. Or some people might know him as Tem, or nature that's linked back to Amun, Ra, and all of that kind of, or Metatron, the messenger, my beautiful souls. So Ausar's color is white, if you wanna embrace through the imagery, right, my beautiful souls, and the number is 10. So you can see with this energy, there is the 0, and you've got the 0 and the 1. So the 0 being the infiniteness, the possibility of all things, infinite possibilities, and the oneness being you, being the individual stepping forward to take claim or to co-create and create your reality. And the 10 in itself as a whole number is showing you a manifestation, an accumulation, a densification of this intangible will, right? This imagination, this idea, this whatever it is, which again, Spirit's saying, comes from a source of infiniteness, or is the source behind infiniteness, if you know what I mean. Because they say some infiniteness is proportional, right? Because we live in an aspect of the what we call the universe, and that's where you find your uniqueness. You don't see your uniqueness, don't mean standing alone. Your uniqueness is stepping back into the united oneness, my beautiful souls. So that's my message for this week, my beautiful souls, for the God. Right, so you had many names: Osiris, Ausar, Tem, Obatala, Metatron, Kefa, depending on how it resonates for you, my beautiful souls. Until next week.